Got him. Now, Tank, now.
Welcome to your doom.
Sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit.
All right, what do you have for us today, Rene?
So we have a super spooky episode.
What? I'm sorry. Were you trying to say super spooky?
Yeah.
A super spooky episode?
I just can't get that feminine. Sorry.
Hey. I've been doing the ayahuasca trips with Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, yeah. What
It
a
touches my
It's working.
feminine side, yeah.
What a nightmare that was. If anyone watched his Enigma documentary.
Yeah, I unfortunately did.
I was like, my one gripe, he starts off immediately. He's getting tattooed by like a Swedish tattoo artist that has no idea who he is. There's thousands of us that know who you are.
Yeah.
Come to one of us. And also, the tattoo artist didn't even bag his machine up, and he was very just like, just setting the precedence for like Aaron's like, a little bit different. And that was the vibe the whole documentary.
Yeah. I thought it gave conspiracy theorists a bad name, personally. You're making us look bad.
Should we get us? Should we get your tinfoil hat out?
Yeah, we got to get the tinfoil hats out.
So
You're making us look dumb.
So this is episode 144A. What is this episode on, Rene?
So this is about the Lemp family brewery.
The Lemp Brewery.
Oh, yeah.
The Lemp Brewery. Okay, so this...
And who are you?
I'm Jake Limp Bussy.
Yeah. And who are you?
Oh, man, that's a good one. I'll be Rene... Master Brewer, right? I don't know.
Oh my God!
Yeah, that's
and
all right.
and I'm Adam Lager.
Oh,
I
that's the
barely
best.
know her.
Darn
Riley.
it, I want a cool one.
I think I was on him on a Pia.
You're getting a cold one right now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So this story was so spooky story because the Lemp Mansion in St. Louis, Missouri,
Okay.
is supposed to be haunted. And so it was abandoned eventually and torn down because of its hauntedness. So I'll
Good reason.
Yeah, I know, right? Actually, it's a bike.
There's ghosts going out of it like
manufacturing
rats.
place now.
Just-
Yeah. Ghostly rats. Okay, so I'll start on the family and the history
Okay.
and why it became haunted.
Sure.
Okay, so the Lemp.
It's a ghost.
Something else haunted.
Yeah, that's for sure a ghost. Okay, so the Lemp family patriarch starts with Johann Adam Lemp, and he's from Eichweiler, Germany. And I only included that so I could say Eichweiler.
Eichweiler?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Like Eichweiler, you know.
Oh,
I think I've heard that said in a Rammstein song. Go ahead.
I think I heard it said in a documentary in black and white.
So
About painting.
Yep. Bought another haunted place.
he was a restaurateur,
Okay.
but he was always like having financial problems. He could never get liquid, and so he had all these creditors coming after him. And then
Yeah, I was not going that kind
you
of
said liquid as
Yeah.
in
She's talking about assets.
monetary
assets,
liquid. Okay,
yes,
I'm like,
yes, monetary liquids. Okay,
Sure.
so anyway, and his wife died, his parents died, his kid died, and like he was just not feeling it, so he decided to move and emigrate to the United States.
and what time frame was this?
Like 1850s.
Okay.
Yeah, mid 1800s.
That was like the big German migration time.
Right.
That's when a lot of people came to Wisconsin here, and that's why we
Hey.
we
There
have
we
such
go.
cool sound effects
I
in our
think
podcast.
the second one was, I believe, to Argentina. A few
Oh yeah,
decades
there was
later.
another furious fleeing that happened.
Furious.
Yeah.
Okay. So when he arrived in St. Louis, he changed his name from Johann to his middle name Adam because it's more American
Smart.
sounding, and also to drop
Suddenly
those
the banks
creditors.
would give him liquid.
Yeah. You want some liquid?
Yeah.
And he started a grocery store in St. Louis, and then he started brewing lager, which he's the first lager brewer in the United States.
Now, can I ask the question here? Like, what is a lager as opposed to
Ale. Okay,
Yes,
so most people
sure.
were drinking ale at the time, and ale when it's brewed, it's like warmer and on the top of the barrel, and lager is at the bottom of the barrel where it's stored cold, and it gives it a crisp, bright profile. Not that I'm a beer connoisseur.
I do know. I mean, I brewed beer. I've been brewing beer for a long time, and I do know that if you want to home brew a lager, you have to have a dedicated fridge because you do have to ferment it at a different temp.
Okay, so it just has to do with temperature mostly.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and the good thing about St. Louis is that there's a lot of caves in just Missouri in general. Like if you go through Missouri, they make you look at all their caves. But so he built over caves because that's where you can store year round. It's the same temperature.
Yeah.
You didn't have a pesky wife and kid holding the back either. So
he's all by his loads. It's easier to get ahead financially when it's just
when you don't have to look at her cave.
Yeah, just you. And so when he was outselling, the lager was outselling anything he sold in the grocery store. So he just basically got out of the grocery store business and brewed lager specifically.
And can I ask real quick, lager was new?
Yes, brand new.
So this was like, hey, we got a new type of beer.
Yeah.
And it was good.
Yeah,
Okay.
and people were like, ooh, I like this a lot better because the people were either drinking ale or like hard liquor.
Sure.
Like
and
distilled.
so lagers came from Missouri.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, I know, right? You don't think anything good comes from there, but there it goes. Okay, so and then he built like a beer hall next door to his brewery, and like the city managers liked it because instead of having all this violence at like the other taverns where you have the hard alcohol, you know, and then they also said, hey, if you drink lager, you're going to be younger, and it's like medicine. It tastes so good.
That still works today. Any new product, they're like, you'll be younger, and dumb bitches are like.
I mean, they do that. That was always like the new tonic or whatever. You know, like I know that a lot of things started off that way. I believe that even like ketchup, I remember reading, was initially served or prescribed as like a stomach ailment. You know, for that.
Well, that'll help you puke so you can feel better.
And Viagra was blood pressure medication.
Was it really?
Yeah.
And people got bricked up, and they're like, this has a second.
So it was a vasodilator. They assumed relax the vessels, and then hey, keep having these side effects.
Yeah.
So
priapism.
Yeah.
Go
ahead. I don't even know how to build off that because I don't know. I'm not an ED expert.
Oh.
Well, let me talk a little bit more. Hold on. Welcome to my TED Talk, everyone.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a technical ED.
Yeah.
TED.
Turn that E into an I on that the Lemp episode. Okay.
And so, as Jake mentioned, there was a lot of German immigrants coming at the time. So, in other words, these like lagers were selling like hotcakes.
Sure.
And then also, it's during that Civil War era, like a lot of soldiers were coming back or going through St. Louis, and they're like, oh, you know, this lager, and then they wanted it where they lived.
Sure.
So then he started, shipping out, and he's one of the first distributors to do that, to distribute alcohol.
How did they distribute back then? I'm assuming just
so he built his
barrels
own
or something?
railroad. Yeah, and then put it and brewed it in a can which had like this really ornate design, and they were all like limited edition every time you did it. So like there was never a uniform.
So maybe text
branding.
me a note. I'll see for YouTube listeners. I'll see if I can get a picture of that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, you're basically doing the Shamrock Shake then, right?
Yeah.
Just making it like unique, and people are like, oh, I gotta have it.
If it helps, it was called Falstaff.
That might help.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Oh, also like and subscribe. I guess we have this on YouTube, the video. So if you're listening and you want to see us, come on over.
I can't believe that Jake just let Falstaff. I gotta make a limp joke on Falstaff.
There's been enough of this.
Okay. Anyway.
The dicks better get harder. This episode's gonna be really rough. Okay, so anyway.
There's not much subtext in that at all.
No. Okay, so 10 years after he arrived, he had his wife and his other kids come because now he could afford to have them.
Oh wait, so they didn't die? Or this is
no, he remarried, and then he still had kids from the first wife, and then one kid with her, but he'd never seen the kid before, so this is his first time even meeting his own kid.
Sure. What a life back then! Like,
I know, crazy.
Send the boy.
Yeah.
Can he lift a barrel? All right, he's ready.
Can he roll out the barrel?
It's like a Saint Bernard with a cask on his neck.
Yeah, some fat German kid shows up in the middle of the Civil War.
Yeah.
Super.
So basically, in the 20 years from the time he came to United States to that 20-year mark, he was like valued at like 3.4 million or something, and that's not accounting for inflation.
That's then.
That's their dollars
so
back
quite
then.
a good period for this guy.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
So he did really good.
Imagine if he came to Wisconsin.
Well, I'm so glad you mentioned that.
Oh, okay. Why?
Because his best friend forever was Frederick Pabst.
Oh, there we go.
And so he got like help.
Feels like a sitcom.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So he got help from the Pabst, like on how to run his brewery.
Nice.
And stuff like that. So he kind of took what he learned from them and like kind of expounded upon it. And then they started doing what he was doing as far as the distribution.
Sure.
And stuff like that. And actually one of his kids married one of the Pabst kids, so that.
Isn't that an IPA? Sorry, I don't know how to make beer. I think you fuck it.
Yeah. So anyways, he was doing so well that he bought another piece of land that had these larger caves, making it, and it was closer to, what's that river? Mississippi River.
Yeah.
And so they could take the ice chunks from the river, and like
smart.
it's like close by. But anyway, so he died, like he was in his 30s when he came here, and he died in his 50s, so about that 20-year mark. And then his son, William Lemp.
Can I ask, did he know English when he got here, or did he learn it?
He learned it here.
Okay.
But then
so
there's
this
like
is quite
a lot
a success story.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Shows the power of alcohol.
Yeah. It's like, we want your goods.
Yeah. This foreign guy made a new drink. It's pretty good.
Yeah. So now when he owned the brewery, he called it the Western Brewery
His
Company.
son?
Yes.
His son renamed it?
Renamed it.
Okay.
Because what his son added to the company
Because East St. Louis sucks. Sorry.
was that he added like branding, which
Oh,
there had
okay.
been no branding. That's why every time that they brewed, like they would make the cans or the bottles, and they would like it would be a new design every time. That's kind of why it's like limited edition.
Yeah.
But he made it like a much more simple label that's easy recognizable, so that people know that, oh yeah, we're getting this brewery
Okay.
that we
Yeah,
want.
that makes sense.
You know.
Interesting.
And I don't think any other breweries had been doing that either. So it's kind of a way to like get your name recognized, and people would want your specific product.
Smart.
Right.
Like,
And he was a master brewer in advertising, branding, and basically he's like the Sigma of the family.
Yeah.
You know.
the son is.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
And
Are you laughing because Sigma is like such a word that I also hate right
Yeah,
now?
yes.
Like every kid.
It wasn't the Ligma?
It's not. What's Ligma?
Like my balls?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway.
so anyways, he got married and he had 9 children. Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, a lot of Ligma. so
So I don't think he had ED
he
problems.
had no children. He's German. Sorry.
Okay, so 6 of them survived to adulthood. And
That's pretty good.
okay, so it is good,
Yeah.
actually. And so he got a contract around to sell the military his lager because they were using ale, like, as opposed to water.
Sure.
And now with the lager, he said, oh, this will help, injured soldiers get better. It'll reduce camp diarrhea, which you guys say it doesn't reduce diarrhea.
Kind of,
Yeah.
I think,
So
I think
don't
lager
know.
kind of increases my
Yeah.
diarrhea.
Based off my research, it all causes diarrhea.
Yeah, I'll give an update at the end of this episode.
Yeah.
So basically, yeah, the troops came home with a taste for lager, but they also came home by the hundreds looking for work. So when all these like veterans or whatever were coming in, he got them all jobs in his brewery. So now he can expand the brewery even more because he has all these like workers to work it. And then he purchased an additional 5 square blocks onto the original or the closer brewery to that his father bought.
Okay.
And then, yeah, he built his own railroad to transport and distribute. And actually, he was distributing beyond the United States. It was like England and Europe and, India
Sure.
was getting this
pretty
stuff.
interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like if you think about it, it's like the, supply chains, so, we're not
This
like
was
it is now.
This is
So-
a functional alcoholic.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
It's like you brew it and it's going to be there in a year, India, It could, I don't know. But I just thought that was kind of interesting how far.
and
that
I
it
hear
went.
they need help stopping diarrhea in India. So like, we can curry some favor with them.
That was a good one.
It's like, how do you, never mind. That's like, I don't know how you have
You
this
hit
in
the
the
dot
title.
right on the head.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay, so his in-laws were actually the one that built the mansion
Okay.
that is now the Lemp Mansion. And they only lived in it for 2 years before they thought it cramped their style, so they gave it to them.
Okay.
And the interesting thing about this mansion is that it's the first to have like its vented, air
Sorry, this
duct
lager's tearing
system.
me up.
And it had an elevator. First
Really?
elevator.
Really?
Yeah.
First elevator in that
Missouri.
area.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
yeah.
Interesting.
Very funny that the people that invented lagers avoided stairs. Like, it's probably
Okay,
a
but-
good decision.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. The vodka barons wanted in on it as well. They're tired of losing all their wives.
And then So he had a tunnel built from the house, the Lemp mansion, to the breweries, like in the caves underneath.
Okay.
So then you have all this extra cave space.
Oh, for cool.
Yeah, for cool stuff. So they built like a bowling alley, movie theater, swimming pool, auditorium, a bar,
amazing.
like everything.
All
is,
underground?
Yeah, in the caves.
I should ask though, are there still any? I'm assuming the caves are still surviving.
The caves are, yeah.
And are any of these still standing? Like,
No.
Okay, I was gonna say that might be in need if there was still like.
I feel like I seen something. It was like a Netflix architecture show where they were using caves like this to build homes into. It's a similar thing in this area. Okay,
Yeah,
so
okay.
That'd be
that's
really cool.
it's super smart to use natural formations. So
And then he invested in it like $200K of $1,800 into the brewery for mechanical refrigeration, so they don't need to like rely on ice.
Okay.
From the river.
Oh, okay.
Mechanical
so just,
refrigeration.
okay,
Yeah, like yeah.
Which is probably a newer technology.
Yes, it was very new, and he had the money to get it, so he did. And so the factory went 3 stories high and then 3 stories down into the caves. Like that's like how deep in the caves they went. And so at the same time, he was helping further the Pabst Brewery, and he launched the Amheiser Brewery.
Really?
Which I think Amheiser
Cheers,
also
buddy. This guy
is in St. Louis.
This guy owes me a gym membership.
So he took care of everything for everybody, and of all he had 6 kids, 4 of them were sons, and he wanted his sons to take over the brewery someday. But he
He had a 6-pack.
yeah, he did. The 4th son, Frederick, who he named after his best friend, he wanted him to take over just because he was the only one that really expressed interest in like staying at the brewery and learning how to brew, learning, the financials and all that kind of stuff. And so it caused sort of resentment with the other brothers, which I feel like any business with brothers kind of,
There's that whole strife, but also they're probably well-off kids too.
Yeah, they are
probably
very well-off.
Competitive.
Yeah.
I didn't need dad's help. You know, all that shit.
And it just so happened, though, that when Frederick was maybe like in his mid-20s, he started getting sick and run down. And then the doctors said the same thing that all doctors in the 1850s said. It's just like, oh, you're just working too hard.
Too
You
much
just need
blood.
to rest.
Consumption.
Get rid, get rid of some of that blood.
So they told him, oh, you got to go to California because the air is better there, which it probably was because there wasn't all these breweries.
Yeah.
So he goes to California, but he dies in California. So
Something wrong. Something liver.
yeah, there was something like obviously wrong with him, but they just put it down as heart failure. They didn't really know. Okay. So anyways, his father's heartbroken because that was his right-hand man at the brewery. While the other boys are out like partying, he was the one that was working. And then at around the same
I almost wonder if it was like overexposure to something in a factory back then.
Yeah,
all the
thing
stuff
you
we didn't
couldn't
know was
tell.
poisonous or like
yeah.
Been messing with arsenic or what do you call it?
radium.
Radium,
Or I mean, he may have just had a really bad yeast infection.
Yeah.
Yeah, all that yeast.
A yeasty boy.
Yeah, he was a yeasty boy.
Yeah.
So
Will it help him cross the threshold?
Yeah. We'll get a few more in there.
I'll see myself
Yeah.
out.
yeah, you should.
So he lost his breadwinner.
Yes, he lost his breadwinner. And then shortly after that, Frederick Pabst, who is his best friend and almost more like a family member than most of his family members were, he died on New Year's Day suddenly, like of a heart attack.
Sounds like him and his son died.
Yeah, the Fredericks squared died. And so, like, maybe 6 weeks after his friend died, before that, this is the part I thought was really interesting, is that when he was in his grieving process, he didn't want to talk to people, so he walked to work in the caves so that he doesn't have to talk to anyone. And I'm like, I need caves too, so that I don't have to talk to people.
Just a cave from like my bedroom to my toilet. I live alone.
Yeah.
But
sounds like the opposite of what you should do.
Yeah.
Or it's just like, you should really talk about it. Like, no, I got my own way of dealing about it. You're going to walk down your alcoholic cave again?
All right, Gollum.
Yeah. You show up to work drunk.
Yeah, but that's like recommended. Actually, they did drink during their lunch break, just like GM.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, So
a shot at GM for those that aren't in Janesville. It's still a sore subject around here.
So February 13th, he was at breakfast, and none of the family members were home, just the staff. And he was like, I don't feel so good, so I'm going to go in my room and have a lay down. And they're like, okay, sure. And then around 9:30, a maid heard a loud pop coming from his room, and she tried to open the door, but she couldn't get it open. Mm-hmm. So she ran down to the brewery to get one of his sons to come back to open the door, and he was still alive. He had shot himself in the head, but he was still alive. And they're like, we can fix it. I mean, we could put
reload the musket.
He used a .38 caliber revolver. But anyways, like, even though like his skull was missing spots, they're like, we could just put it back together and it'll be fine.
Yeah, Humpty Dumpty.
Yeah, Humpty Dumpty. But anyways, William was known for being humble, modest, down to earth. He was very charitable, gave away a lot of money.
Yeah, bit of a flincher.
Yeah, who wouldn't flinch though? Come on. Okay, So his son, who was not William Jr., who is actually the oldest child, he was not ready to take over because these boys were living like their playboy party lifestyles, and they're just like, I don't even need to worry about anything because my dad has it taken care of, you know. And so they never ever worried about paying a bill. They would just run up credit somewhere, and Dad paid the bill.
Yeah,
honestly, sounds like a fun life.
I know, doesn't it?
I was like, dude, Dad invented booze. Dude, your lake house parties were you're probably an asshole, being real honest.
Right. Well, and the thing is because they spent no time with their father, they really didn't have any business savvy. Like, they didn't learn anything. They don't know how to run a business. Not really any aspect of that business other than just hanging out and smoking cigars in the office.
Sure.
So that's kind of scary.
That is a lot of it in the 1800s, though. That's the golf course back then.
Yeah.
Like, that's how deals are done.
And, you know, he was like overly spoiled, like people would say. He, you know, had a lot of good drip, constantly flexing. He even got married, and then they bought him a house, and then his wife was like a huge spender, and they never ever worried about any of that. I'd be weird to be having my father-in-law pay my bills though, because he'd be like, how many dresses did you buy?
If that's all you know. That's
true. Yeah, that's like that Succession show shit where it's just, you know, they think of stuff differently. And if you never have to work for anything.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm pouring water into my shampoo to make it last longer.
Yeah, it's still on the sides. It's smart.
So
real Sigma move.
Ligma move.
So his wife, Lillian, she came from a fortune because her father is the one that manufactured those chairs like in railroad cars that people sat in for like passenger cars.
Okay.
So she came from money herself. But their marriage was really difficult because while he still wanted to go out and party, and then she wanted to like have parties, but not the kind of like parties that Billy Jr. had, because his were like freak outs in the caves, and they would have prostitutes and stuff like that. So,
hell yeah.
Honestly, like,
eyes wide shut, man.
Who's picking the pinkies up party? I'm going to the fucking cave.
Yeah, keep your railroad chairs.
Yes.
I'm going to the caves.
So the cave party is, you know.
Oh, very hoity-toity party. See you later.
Yeah. I'm going to go back to the caboose.
Yeah, I'm going to have cave juice all over me. It's beer. It's beer. It spills down there.
It's just cave juice,
The walls are wet.
Yeah.
Sorry, my dick's leaking cave juice.
Listen,
7 to 10 days after.
You guys have fun on the train up here. I'll have fun on the train down there. So.
I'm sick from those cave parties.
Yeah.
Okay, so when he took over, he was really pressed because he's got all these losses. His brother, his father, his mom died like 6 months after his father from cancer, and his marriage was absolutely horrible, like from the get-go.
Too much cave.
Yeah, too much cave. She had one child, and it's kind of just like a miracle that she even had one because they never really interacted with each other. Right. And so during his marriage, he said that he gave her an allowance of $1,000 a day, and if she didn't spend it, he wouldn't give her any.
Dude, this whole family just sounds drunk.
Like, I know.
It sounds like they're just perpetually drunk, dying of liver failure, shit marriages, cave parties. Just a bunch of Bert Kreischers.
So the divorce that they had was very, very scandalous. Like, it was in the papers. It's kind of like Johnny Depp and Amber Heard.
Sure.
Like, of their time.
Yeah. Well, at least we know it wasn't diarrhea.
Yeah.
Because of loggers.
She diarrheaed on my bed. So like every day, like people were like glued to the news to see like, because it was a lot of sexual stuff, like
keeping up with the Lemps.
Yeah, keeping up with the Lemps. Like he's sleeping with prostitutes in weird positions, and he's like, she spends.
Other than missionaries, what they're getting at.
I think just sleeping with him is the weird position. Not kicking him out of the cave when you're done.
So they were actually on the front page of the St. Louis 4 newspapers for weeks from this trial.
Okay.
Like it was just every day. And like one of the things she alleged that he pointed a gun at her every night while they were in bed.
This just sounds like a drunk family. It's like the Lager family messy divorce,
Yeah.
No kidding, brought a gun to it.
And so what happened at the end is that she ended up getting a large allowance, more than her 1,000,
It's called alimony.
Yeah. And then she got full custody. So now he's lost his brother, his dad, his mom, and now his son, because he can't see his son anymore.
And his dad never taught him to shoot. Apologies.
Okay. So one of the funny things is that he published a picture of her smoking to try to get custody back.
Look at this dirty bitch smoking.
He's like, I pointed a gun at her, but she smokes.
Was that frowned upon for women to smoke?
Yeah, ladies, you couldn't even like ride you couldn't even ride a horse like normal. You had to have it like both legs on one side.
Both legs on leg on each side.
Yeah, the real safe way to ride a horse.
Throw that horse away. It's just, his back's all gross.
No, I don't. It's like the way your mind works sometimes. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, so after all this happened, he decided that he's gonna make the mansion into office buildings because he thinks it has bad juju now. And
he also doesn't have a family to fill it.
Right, he doesn't. So he built a new house and he called it All Is Well. Oh. But all was not well.
Oh. Okay.
He did get remarried, but that marriage sucked worse than the first marriage. If it's like hard to imagine, but it did.
She wouldn't even tolerate a gun.
Yeah.
Some prude.
She didn't like getting a gun pointed at her in bed. I mean, it sounds like the kid, he grew up with no skills of having a good marriage, though. So why would he suddenly be good at it?
Yeah, he has no boundaries. So things started to crumble too at the brewery because not only is he mismanaging it, but there's 3 major things that happen at the same time. One was that all German breweries, which was most of the breweries, but specifically German breweries, were being investigated leading up to World War I because the American government's suspicious of all German businessmen. Yeah. 2 is that the temperance movement really started to take hold, and that's the end. They want no alcohol. And
do you remember? I think it was when we were going over the 18th Amendment when they're talking about the ending or the beginning of prohibition. But I remember one of the women from the temperance movement, she was talking about, we've already been invaded by the Germans, Pabst, Miller, she started listing off all the beer makers. So I'm assuming just this schmear campaign here.
Yeah.
Sure.
I taught you one thing today, and you have to smear it out. Okay, so what other breweries were doing, like Amheiser and Pabst.
Schmear.
And you find out his real name wasn't Adam.
Ooh.
I forgot what it was normally.
Johann.
Oh, okay, yeah, very German. So
what other breweries were doing is that they were making near beer, which wasn't a good idea because you could get bootleg beer, and it wasn't that hard to get.
Okay.
Especially up here. 2, they started making soda, like Coke, orange soda, 7-Up, all these other things started to come out.
Just drinks for fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not water, but just good tasting stuff.
Yeah. That people, maybe even people who don't drink alcohol will start buying your product. 3 is that vinegar.
Well, that had Coca-Cola. It had Coke in it when it came out. They're like, this hooks people too.
Well, it wasn't specifically Coke, but drinks like Coke.
Sure.
Soda pops.
Soda pops, yeah. And vinegar is a byproduct. So they were selling vinegar and like ammonia. So they're just brewing all kinds of other things like household cleaning products to get around it and like try to keep themselves alive. But Billy Jr. refused to do any of those things. He's like, I'm not going to lower myself. I'm selling beer and beer only because the 18th Amendment will never pass. This is his opinion, which he was wrong.
Oddly imprudent for a German not to diversify.
I know, really?
He's a second generation American.
Yeah. they're go with the flow, right?
Sure.
Okay, so in February of 1919, his youngest sister, the youngest of all the 6 children, Elsa, married a successful businessman named Thomas Wright.
Okay.
They were married at the Pabst Mansion. They even went on a honeymoon on the Titanic. Coming back. Crazy, huh?
Wait.
But anyways,
What do you mean?
like when they came
They were
back,
on the Titanic?
Yeah, they were on the Titanic.
When it went down?
Yeah.
And they lived?
Yeah.
Nice to have money.
Yeah.
So he lived too?
Yeah.
You're saying? Okay.
Yeah.
Fucking
So-
pussy the rest of his life. As a dude, you can't be like, I survived the Titanic. You have to be like, I woke up on driftwood.
Yeah.
On a
on the door.
Yeah. It's like, you had to lie.
Let the homeless guy bang die.
Hey, why do you have this large...
He's like, Jack was
Yeah.
still on it. It's like, kick them off.
Why do you have this large dress in your closet? No reason.
So the marriage was fraught with domestic violence on both sides. And they got a divorce. And that divorce was quickly given. But then he was like, no, we got to be together. So they remarried.
It's like, why
3
can't you
months
be more like
later.
the Titanic?
Yeah.
Go down.
He was
Yeah.
like, do you remember the Titanic? I don't know. Anyways, so they got remarried. And 11 days after they got remarried, she allegedly committed suicide in her bedroom.
Oh.
Yeah.
And no one was home at the time except for her husband,
Yeah.
who waited over 2 hours to report her death.
Sound like is Mr. Wrong.
But actually, Billy Jr., he comes over to the house and they tell him that she committed suicide. And he goes, yeah, that's the Lemp family for you.
Yeah.
Like,
It sounds like he escaped through the cave. Came
Yeah.
out the brewery, just, oh, where's my wife at? I'll walk home through
My
the
loving wife.
Yeah. I'll say hi to all the
11 days
policemen
away
on the
from
way,
that.
out eating ice cream.
and the newspaper read the next day, Elsa Lemp Wright killed self, had attack of indigestion and acute depression. Indigestion and depression.
Yeah.
But anyway.
I've had pretty bad heartburn before.
Yeah. Did you want to end it
I
all?
thought about it.
That's that.
Yeah.
I mean, 11 days married, that's kind of crazy. But then I was like, well, maybe because, she has like a fortune from the Lemp, from her father. So did he want to get remarried so that he could kill her so he could get the money? I don't know.
It seems sticky
Yeah,
all
it's very
around.
sticky.
Like a very clear motive for this guy. But
the Lemp Brewery had been lacking in much-needed repairs and renovations, and sales had dropped significantly after June 1919. And as he put it, it's nothing but dust and weeds. And
that's World War I, 1919 at this point.
Post-World War I.
But everything's, it hasn't been a good few years.
No, it has been bad. And the fact
and
that
the flu too, wasn't it? 1919?
Spanish flu.
Yeah. Okay. So.
And then on top of it, the 18th Amendment, and he didn't want to diversify, but he sold the brewery for $7 million when it was valued for $585 million. So basically, he got 8 cents for every dollar. 8 cents for every
and that's
dollar.
that's the name, the brand, and everything.
Everything.
Why did he take such a low cost? Was it just to be done with it?
Yeah, just to be done with it, and also because
it's still like that amount of money that he never earned anyway.
And
so
to
it's
get
free
clear
money.
of that murder,
And
you're buying the mansion too, right?
And like you were saying, like it's a depressed time in the American economy. And then on top of it, it's not like whoever takes over, just like GM, they'd have to retool it because what are they going to do with this gigantic brewery?
Isn't it about like 9 years before it gets really depressed?
Yes.
And
but
also,
I mean, it's really depressing if you're a brewery.
Yeah.
And also, can I ask, this is still during Prohibition.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is like...
Right, so
you're
they're not. No
you're
one's
not sure it's coming back at all.
Yeah.
So that kind of makes a bit more sense with.
No one's selling enough Dr. Pepper to expand into this gigantic 3-story high.
Give
3-story
America
down.
a little bit.
Yeah.
So basically, his second wife after this sale left him. So now he's on his lonesome. And then on December 29th of 22, he went into his office, which was formerly his father's bedroom, unbuttoned his vest and shot himself in the chest with the same .38. And he also lived about 45 minutes afterwards.
Jeez, did he carve Brooks was here before he did it?
Well, the difference was because he shot himself in the chest and it took a while to bleed out that he actually started to go downstairs because he was going to tell somebody,
You want a snack?
like somebody, I shot myself 10 minutes ago. None of you care. So he ended up collapsing on the stairway and that's where he died.
Sad.
His son was the one that discovered his body. And
Just like
Just like him.
It's a tradition at this point.
It is a tradition. He's the only one that had a note, I believe. The note said, "You knew, I knew it. I was afraid this was coming." But his son was like, that could be a million different things. So he wasn't really convinced that was a suicide note.
It does seem oddly kind of vague.
It is so vague. Yeah. And it could be referring to I'm afraid, being broke is coming or losing my house or
the mail that day.
Yeah.
Sounds like he was writing about possibly something else and decided to just kill himself instead.
Yeah.
Instead of another divorce, he's like, fuck this.
Yeah.
You start that I'm not happy and I'm not going to do this again.
Yeah.
So
leave her with the dead.
Anyway. In the heart is oddly poetic or
it is.
Romantic.
Yeah.
I don't think he did it so he got the drug trip in the brain. Anyways, keep going.
So now the new heir is William Lemp III. And he is the only legitimate heir because remember how Lillian only had that one child? He didn't have any kids with his second wife. So he's the only one left now.
The blood heir.
The blood heir. And, I forgot to tell you about the monkey boy. Okay. So I remember
what a great sentence.
That I was telling you about those freak out parties with the prostitutes.
Oh yeah. All right. What?
So basically, one of the prostitutes said that she, bore one of Billy's children.
Okay.
And he looked like a monkey because he had elongated arms and his face was kind of monkey face looking. I'm not.
Okay, what happened to the monkey boy?
But okay, well, so in the prostitute couldn't take care of him.
Yeah.
So apparently, when he was still a baby, Billy wanted to keep him a secret, so he had a bedroom on the 3rd floor that was the nursery, and they hired specific people to watch the monkey boy.
Listen, in the brewery mansion, a monkey boy is known as fetal alcohol syndrome.
Yeah, probably, yes.
We taught him sign language to ask for a kitten.
They said that his face looked like the Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Right.
Have you ever seen that?
Yeah, I've seen the cartoon.
Yeah, or Goonies, the one brother
Sloth.
that's
Yeah,
in the basement. Okay.
Sounds like a spokesperson for Lager. I know his catchphrase.
Okay.
Hey, you guys.
So there's never any proof that this child exists, but some people say that they did because they worked taking care of Monkey Boy.
Well, they got the caves for him.
Yeah.
But
throwing poop.
Yeah.
Outside the family mausoleum, which in St. Louis is gigantic, there's just a little flat piece of granite that says Lemp on it, and
Monkey
there's no
Boy.
name. Yeah, that's Monkey Boy's grave.
It just says ooh ooh.
So the William Lemp III, he
Fourth, I guess, technically.
he had to take care of Monkey Boy himself.
Dude, what a better story this would be if Monkey Boy inherited it all. Just...
We're changing all the banana flavored beer?
That's what the boss wants.
Okay.
This place is going nuts.
Okay. So he ended up just
I
living
don't want
off.
to rattle any cages here. But
Yeah.
He just lived off of the estate and the Lemp fortune. He never married.
Sure.
And so they still had the house that he was living in. And then sold all as well, so he got money that way, but it was not from the brewery any longer. But the only notable action that he did was in 1939, he sold the rights to the family name Lemp Breweries to Central Breweries, because remember I told you it's the first brand that had branding.
Yeah.
So when the 30s, it's getting close to World War II. If you're in Europe, it is World War II, and they're this is my favorite. Remember,
Yeah.
So yeah,
and you'd think it would have been sullied by then. The name and everything else. Because obviously if it's...
I think that when it comes to beer, people are like, that's their family business.
If that was happening at Prohibition, and then obviously with the 21st Amendment, Prohibition ended, which is just a few years later.
Yeah.
Obviously that Lemp Brewery started picking up again their business. So I guess, you have your bounce back.
Yeah.
But even nowadays, you prove that beer consumers have a pretty short memory with
They
bad
do.
advertising.
They really do.
Anything happen with Bud Light?
Yeah.
Anyway,
Shane Gillis is the spokesman now. Good move. Quite a pivot.
So the Lemp
There
beer,
should be Shane and Drag.
it sold popularly for 5 years before that brewery was bought out and they discontinued.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And the year after he sold the rights, he declared bankruptcy because now he has nothing, and perhaps due to financial stress, but he died 3 years later of heart failure.
Good.
Man.
They had their solution. It was Monkey Boy. This was they could have
think
built. They
Monkey
could
Boy
have
kept
built
them
their
alive.
whole campaign around Monkey Man beer.
Yeah.
You know, just a guy out there
Like, ooh, ooh,
smiling and
beer?
hucking beers out to people. That would have sold well.
So now his uncle Charles, who was the first William Lemp, Billy's brother.
Sure.
Okay. Billy's brother takes over and moves into the Lemp mansion. And he actually had a pretty successful career as a banker / financier. So, like, not associated with the brewery. He went out and just made his own money.
Man, I wouldn't come back and touch this shit. This sounds like.
Well, all he's doing is just taking over the household.
Can you imagine hearing the stories of, like, yeah, there was a monkey boy born in the prostitute caves, the ice mine,
Yeah,
and the bowling alley?
He has to take care of Monkey Boy now.
These sounds like
okay.
like code words, by the way.
Yeah.
So, because now they take.
Don't go in that office. You get bad ideas
Yeah.
in there.
So he reconverted the mansion not back into a home from the office building. So
Sure.
he's remodeled it yet again. And he never married as well. He was really active in the social, political charity groups. He was a high-ranking Democrat in the state of Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
And starting in the late 20s, he just started not going to any social events anymore, which was really weird because if you're a politician,
Right.
like kind of doing social events is like the thing that you do.
Yeah.
Sure.
I don't know.
I think this place just has a bunch of lead paint on the walls. When you live in there long enough, you start doing wacky shit.
And then at the same time, he started to become obsessed with germs.
See?
There you go.
He went Howard Hughes
Yeah.
on it. Like,
Spruce Moose.
yeah. So,
And so because of his worry of like dirtiness and germs, he basically fired all the staff except for one person. And he was like very particular about how his bed was made, how his food is, and all
Okay.
that other
Yeah,
stuff.
that guy did not keep Monkey Boy around.
yeah, so Monkey Boy is at best a skeleton in a jar.
It's chained to a wall.
Yeah.
There's a skeleton.
So he said that his
Keeps throwing bananas at him. He's been
Barrel
dead,
of monkeys.
Been dead for years.
his best friend was his Doberman, a parrot, 2 servants, and Monkey Face Boy. So Monkey Face
He's
Boy is
Mr.
still there.
Burns.
Yeah. And when people came to visit him, he would refuse any friends' visits. Like he
Okay.
just wouldn't come to the
So
door.
just probably OCD, mental,
Yeah,
mental
of course.
issues,
Definitely.
yeah. And rich, like
Yeah, I was
And
gonna
rich,
say
yes.
like you don't get to be an agoraphobe and poor.
sure, yeah.
Like you're like, well,
Dude,
like-
it's hard to be.
a poor agoraphobe.
There has to be people out there though, somewhere.
No,
No, you
Like
get
that
over
is-
you get over it.
that is yeah.
Oh.
You get
Or
over. We're
or-
like, well, it's this or eat.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's like you're either dead or over it. So
Okay, fast forward.
sure.
May 1949. He wakes up. He has a good filling breakfast. He takes his dog down to his basement / cave. And then,
I don't think cave's good for the mind.
no, but he shot his dog in the cave and killed the dog. And then he went upstairs to his bedroom, which was his brother's office / his father's bedroom, and shot himself with the same 38.
oh
The
my
same
God.
30. Get rid of this gun.
It's a simple
Would
solution.
you keep this gun? No, I'd throw it in the grave with him. Be like, here you go.
Now he
The
did,
gun's like,
for real.
it's Hitler's 38. You know.
It's like 2 McFlys with the same gun. Only it's 3 Lemps with the same gun. But anyways, he is the only one that had a confirmed note because it says, in case I am found dead, blame it on no one but me. But you couldn't because he didn't really see people.
Yeah.
And
Honestly,
his dog didn't shoot him.
Honestly, this one at least makes a bit more sense as far as like, no one
Losing
wants
his mind.
No one wants to live that way. He probably walked by a big full size mirror
Yeah.
with his long toenails and uncut
Yeah.
hair and his
Yeah.
Doberman. He's like, I'm done.
Smelling like bleach.
I know, I was just going to say, like, the smell must be awful. So he requested that his body not be changed, washed, or altered in any way.
G.G. Allen.
He should not be cremated, but to put in a wicker box and buried on his farm. There shall be no funeral or notice in the paper.
I dig it. That's
But
awesome.
he didn't own a farm.
Just talking about the ant farm in his bedroom.
Yeah.
Another code word.
Yeah, so they're like, we'll just put you in the family mausoleum
Yeah.
since you don't have a farm.
Okay.
Maybe he had goals to have a farm.
He wrote the
something.
note like 5 years earlier.
Yeah, he forgot to get the farm.
Damn it. Maybe he bought that farm.
Yeah. So okay. Yeah,
I thought bought the farm is for killing.
Oh, that is. Yeah, he bought the
come on.
farm. That was a pretty clever joke.
Thank
All
you.
right. So this is not going well for this
No.
family.
So the youngest, the fourth brother, Edwin, who he retired when he was 33.
If
and
he kills himself in that room with that fucking gun, I am going to leave. God damn it.
Oh dear, better close this out then.
No.
No, just kidding. Okay, so he wanted nothing to do with the family business, and he didn't want the house after his brother died. He was like, nah, nothing. Yeah. So when he died in 1973, he was 90, so he lived to be old.
Oh, wow.
Oh, he can kill himself with that gun. That's fine. Greet death as a friend.
He instructed his staff to burn all family pictures, portraits, paintings, paperwork, heirlooms. So the only thing left in existence of them is the mansion itself.
Interesting.
Like, leave no trace.
Yeah, and he owned the mansion the entire time. He just never went there.
Huh.
And he was like the Tiger King. He literally had exotic animals at his house, like tigers and
Monkeys.
monkey boys.
Lots of monkeys.
Yeah, like he did, I guess, exotic
So,
farming. I don't know.
Fourth generation fetal alcohol syndrome. It gets fun.
So he sold that property to a local hospital to use as a boarding house, which a lot of hospitals do that for like doctors that are coming in to like learn new techniques or like
Sure.
you know, stuff like that. But the boarding house thing did not work out because they couldn't keep full occupancy because people
kept shooting themselves with that 38 in this room. No.
people would quickly leave reporting that they were hearing knocks on the door that
like
would
a
wake them up in the
revolver
middle of the
door.
night.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go.
And all night long there'd be loud footsteps.
So at this point, this place considered haunted?
Yes.
Like murmurs of it?
Yes. So this is the
Yeah.
first time that it's like coming out with this.
Do you believe in ghosts?
I don't know.
Do you give any credence to like ghosts convince them to do it in this room? You know, like maybe a psychosis with some people, like
I think maybe if I knew like a lot of people died in there and I'd start to think about it and
like
then
Lieutenant Dan wanting to die in Vietnam.
Yeah.
It's almost like if I come in and the curtains move, then that must be a sign for me to do this. Who knows? I mean, you can like make things happen in your own brain because we're so fragile.
But that's what I'm wondering. Like, which way do you lean? Do you think if that was a scenario,
I
do
don't
you think it's in the head, or do you think it's?
I don't lean that way, but I could see like how you could almost like look for. I mean, if you tell yourself to look for enough signs, or like show me a sign, and then you're like, oh, that bird
I feel
farted.
like I could definitely convince myself that something's
That's the
going
way I
on.
go too. Like, you might think you see ghosts, but it's in your head because of this place.
Yeah, because I'm like, it's
So maybe
a
it's haunted
suicide
to
house.
them. Okay.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
It's psychosomatic.
Yeah. But then people are reporting.
Yeah.
But then maybe they're just hearing the stories or something too.
Yeah.
So.
And so in 1973,
Monkey Boy, by the way.
yeah, I hear it, ooh, ooh, ah, ah, all night long.
Sound of a banana peeling. It's very quiet.
Yeah, I looked up from my bed and there was a monkey sitting up there peeling bananas.
Faint noise of poo hitting a wall.
It's like a prehensile tail through the wall.
So in 1973, the house was in various states of disrepair, and I think there is actually a video on YouTube where you could walk, you know, like someone.
Do you guys want to go?
You
Is
can't
it still there?
go.
Oh, is it gone?
No, it's gone.
Okay.
The property's value had plummeted in part because Highway 55, which is a major thoroughfare through St. Louis, they literally built it like across the street from the Lemp Mansion. So now no one's going to go where there's like a 10-lane highway across the street.
Yeah, sure.
You know, it's like you could see the Powerball numbers maybe because of the billboards or something. I don't know. So this made it able so that Dick Pointer
Oh God, really?
That's
No.
my
could
alias.
purchase the property for $40,000.
That's the name of a horse in a race.
Yeah, no, that's Jake's Grinder profile name.
That is not his name. That's not the name of a rich man. But it is
Well,
a
no,
name you
he's
won't
not
forget.
rich. He purchased it for $40K.
Dick Pointer's got that kind of money.
That's Dick Pointer money. So he decided that he was going to renovate it to become a restaurant/inn.
Okay, Richard.
Oh,
Pointer.
the Dick Pointer
Yeah,
Inn?
Richard
Oh, all right.
Pointer. Yeah.
A pointer right in.
It's Richard. No, it's Dick.
Yeah, I know. I would go by Richard if my last name's Pointer, but you know.
I don't think that Dick was like a penis term back then.
It
In the
was
70s?
in the 70s.
so.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the Dick Van Dyke, he got away with a little more, not with Pointer attached.
Yeah, not with Pointer attached.
Dude, that guy's got two like faux pas names.
Sure. Yeah.
Dick Van Dyke.
Okay.
Dick Pointer's a real straight shooter. So.
He is. So when he was supposedly fixing up the restaurant, he said that there was lots of paranormal activity, like the piano wouldn't play when no one's there, the doors would lock and unlock on their own. He would see the lights on when he had already shut them off, and clip-clop of horse hooves on cobblestone.
Ooh.
Cigar smoke.
Dick Pointer also can't be seeing ghosts.
So in order to give Dick Pointer some credentials, he said that he is a paratrooper and he was not easily scared, but he would be, quote, plenty scared in the home.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can see that.
Yeah.
In fact, Dick Pointer Jr. Yeah, he went ahead and did it a second time. Dick Pointer Jr. lived there for 3 years.
Yeah.
He reported, in addition to the loud knocks on the doors at night, that doors would be slamming and his dog would be extremely agitated and saw levitating glasses.
Fascinating.
Yes. There was
bananas, though. Any problems at the restaurant? Bananas were swiped constantly.
If you make a loaf of banana bread and put it outside Monkey Boy's door, no hauntings that day.
So you put a banana there, you can watch bruises appear.
Find it very appealing.
Yeah. So, there was this guy named Claude Breckwalt who was a muralist. And when he was doing the mural, he realized that that's his grandfather's own mural work because his grandfather had a copy of that same art in his wall at home. And he's like, wait, I think my grandpa did the mural. He found out his grandpa also did the mural.
The mural, like he was redoing the
and
mural?
he was repainting it to update it.
That's really interesting.
And so he said that he felt like the house was calling to him.
Oh. So he shot himself with a 38.
Yeah, I was like, one thing to do. He reached for a paintbrush at a 38.
Yeah.
Oh.
How did this get exchanged? It sounds like a Stephen King
Did the
novel,
glasses land on the gun?
Yeah.
That's one way to feel special.
Yeah.
That 38. 38 special.
Oh, okay, yeah. All right, we had a momentary break, and we had
sorry. Okay, so the term came to be associated with the penis, dick, through the usage by men in the military around 1880s, but the usage of dick to refer to a contemptible or despicable person was first attested in the 1960s. So if you're like, that guy's a dick.
Yeah.
The guy that bought that house is a dick.
Yeah.
A real dick.
Yeah.
Dick Pointer, in
Yeah,
fact.
Dick Pointer.
And what did you say Dick Pointer's sister's name was?
Yeah, it's Pussy Pointer. It's right there.
I synced it.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So when guests started staying there, like if they stayed on the third floor, they would hear Monkey Boy play and cry.
This is a restaurant hotel?
/ bed and breakfast
sure.
type situation. They say that they saw a full apparition of Charles Lemp coming down the stairs just like he did after he shot himself. And in the shower of the main bedroom, females report that they feel men watching them in the shower.
Fascinating.
You shower at my house, you're going to get that same feeling.
Except for you're going to be down a couple dick pointers.
There's one thing that happened in that house. It was they showered the women off before they took them to the caves. Fresh crop of prostitutes.
Or when they came out of the caves. I don't know. So there have been many seances over the years, and researchers have suggested there could be a reasonable explanation.
These ghosts are drunk.
The hauntings are caused by electromagnetic waves due to limestone. Apparently, limestone distributes a lot of electromagnetic waves.
Never heard that before.
We're getting electromagnetic waves left and right because we're full of limestone.
Technically, they do, and I do believe Missouri is. It's not a fault line, but there's a expansion point in the middle. I think it's like 1850s. Some of the worst earthquakes in the U.S.
Tectonic plates.
Yeah, because when they move at the edges, eventually the middle has to catch up. So there is like electromagnetic weirdness that happens in these spots. So potentially,
I didn't
maybe.
know that.
Yeah. But I think we have a lot of limestone too, and
we do.
don't. I have yet to see.
It's kind of a stretch.
Monkey Boy's
Monkey
ghost.
Boys. Yeah, I haven't seen Monkey Boy one time.
And this is the problem. You're like, okay, so you're saying electromagnetics cause ghosts. We can test this, but that doesn't yield any results because I'm sure they would have done it. So it's like saying like, you're in the big large magnets in the ground are causing ghosts to be stuck here. It's like, all right, you got to correlate why that would be.
Yeah.
Every time something weird happens, I'm just gonna be like, magnets.
That, I mean, essentially, you might as well be like, it's dry, static. You know,
fair enough.
Okay, so Dick Pointer learned from a former servant that Charles Jr. Billy, he had all those kids that he would wake the kids up in the morning, not by going in their rooms and saying, wake up, but by kicking their doors. And the door kicking is the most consistent of the haunting reports.
Didn't you say in the 60s and 70s, the name Dick was associated with an asshole? What's that? That's Dick.
Ugh.
So the Lemp bloodline was extinguished. So was it a curse because of the alcohol making alcoholics? Kind of like the Winchester type, with the guns,
Kind of like a House of Usher show where they made all the pharmaceuticals, so the devil came for them.
Yeah, like revenge from those lost and hurt from drinking what they brewed or made their money on, or a deal with the devil to become successful, which they originally were, and then this is their payment.
Yeah, they definitely, they exploded in a very short period of time. I mean, to imagine that, like, in Missouri, like, you were literally shipping your beer all the way to India. That's
I know,
crazy
that
to
is
me,
crazy.
Sure. But, I mean, there was the one brother
shipping soap.
This sounds like the one brother, even though he went a bit OCD at the end, made it to 90,
No, the 90 was a different brother.
Okay. So there was a couple of reasonable people that lived a life where, if you want to end it at 90 with a 38, go for it.
Yeah.
Top of the hat to you. Point of the dick to you.
He could just let one of his tigers eat him or something.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what Tiger King would have done if he didn't go to prison.
He's probably going to get pardoned, too, by Trump.
Yeah.
He's so funny.
Dude, Trump, like, he pardoned Hunter. I'm pardoning Tiger King. Quick pro quo.
Checkmate.
I'm out.
Carol Baskin.
All right.
Okay, speaking of weird things, like these SUV-sized drones and whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
I'm curious about them. I don't know what. I'm open-minded. What's going on?
So people are like, it's aliens. And after the last few years, I'm just like, come on, aliens. Just let's do it now. Like,
maybe.
Why not?
I don't give a shit. I'm just trying to get fed and pay my bills.
Do you know the phenomenon where it's
you might have an alien girlfriend.
No, there was it's a phenomenon where basically when you convince people to look up, they will see stuff. Same with ghosts, but there was like a blimp in the 50s went over a city and everybody saw the blimp, but then when they were like, there was a weird thing in the sky, everybody was like, there was a weird thing. It caused thousands of UFO reported. So it's like, are people just looking up for the first time and seeing people just flying their normal drones that they've been doing for the last decade? Like, you have a drone.
Yeah.
And if you see it at night, you're like, oh, us too. Or is it something, I think it's just military stuff.
Yeah.
Like, we have drones that are wild but also AI video is super indistinguishable at this point. So I don't know what. It might just be a big distraction thing, too, to get everybody calm down. There's maybe aliens again. Okay, be racist again. Like, we got to redirect. The CEO just got shot. We're going to keep denying your health care. Look up in the sky. Dick Pointer.
Make America Dick Pointer again.
Yeah. Dick Pointer.
Well, this has been episode 144A.
Yeah. I am Jake Dick Pointer Bussy.
And then I'm Rene.
Oh, thank you so much for bringing
not
it.
Alpha, right?
Like, I'll see if I can dig up some photos and stuff.
Yeah,
for this
that'd
episode too. Like,
there's got to be some.
There's
historical,
lots of photos of the
at least of
family
the
that were
caves
in
and
the newspapers.
I'm gonna find Monkey Boy, or I'm gonna AI him.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. And I'm Adam Monkey Boy Riley.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
But this has been episode 144A. Thank you very much for listening, and thank you for bringing our super spooky episode there.
Oh,
Rene.
and I guess have a good New Year. I mean, it'll be out in a couple days, so hope you had a great New Year and
hopefully you don't see
holidays
Monkey
and all
Boy.
that. Yeah, watch out for Monkey Boy. Keep your bananas safe.
Yeah,
Put them in an
away
electromagnetic Ferris cage or whatever.
away from your limestone. You need a different fruit. You need banana stone.
Later, monkey boners.
Monkey boners. That's my grandmother's dying words.
Monkey boner.